CNN. We've had our fair share of dramatic elections recently, the UK, France, the US. And let's not forget Brexit. The German election on September 24th may be generating fewer headlines, but it's no less important. Germany is one of America's staunchest allies. But German Chancellor Angela Merkel is not a fan of US President Donald Trump. Remember the tense no handshake during her White House visit? And it seems like her main challenger, Martin Schulz, likes Trump even less, and he's not shy about ripping into the American president. So it seems, no matter who wins this election, US-German relations are likely to be strained. To borrow a phrase, Germany's the big man on campus. It is the biggest and strongest economy in the European Union. It's widely seen, along with France, as a driver of EU policy and a powerful player in the Brexit negotiations. Speaking of which, both Merkel and Schulz, a former EU president, seem inclined to take more of a hard line with the UK over its impending exit from the trade bloc. If you're anywhere else, observers of politics everywhere want to see if populist passions will reignite. They burned bright last year in the Brexit vote and the US presidential election, but have dimmed in 2017 with the loss of far-right candidates in France and the Netherlands. The parties led by Merkel or Schulz aren't populist movements by any stretch, but concerns over refugees and security could help propel the far-right alternative for Germany into parliament for the first time. And just like in France's presidential election earlier this year, anyone in a war-torn country in the Mideast or Africa looking to Germany as a place of refuge might wonder what kind of welcome they'll get there in the future. Germans will be voting to fill seats in the Bundestag, the country's 598-seat parliament. Whichever party wins the most seats will try to form a coalition government, and the leader of that party will then become chancellor, equivalent to the US president. German voters will cast 2 votes on election day. On the first vote they will choose from a list of local candidates to represent their district. The candidate who gets the most votes in each district wins a seat in parliament. Half of the Bundestag's seats, 299, are decided this way. For their second vote, they choose from a list of the political parties. The remaining 299 seats are then distributed among the parties based on the percentage of votes received nationwide. Only parties that get more than 5% of the vote nationally can send representatives to the parliament. What's the point of this convoluted system? It allows voters to split their vote between parties. They can vote for a local candidate from one party and cast their second vote for a different party. Merkel's party, the centre-right Christian Democratic Union, and its sister party the Christian Social Union, currently have 309 seats in the Bundestag. They've spent the past 4 years in coalition with the centre-left Social Democratic Party, which has 193 seats. Angela Merkel, who she is, Merkel, of course, is the current Chancellor of Germany, an office she's held since 2005. She's the country's first female leader, and she's pretty popular right now. Her approval rating stands at about 59% in one recent poll. If the 62-year-old Merkel wins, it'll be her 4th term in the post. And if she were to serve a full term, she would tie with Helmut Kohl as Germany's longest-serving post-war chancellor, 16 years. In her time in office, there have been 3 US presidents, 4 UK prime ministers and 4 French presidents. For those who aren't fans of current US President Donald Trump, she's now thought to be the most powerful person in the world. What she wants? Merkel has a fairly liberal policy on refugees. She's a big fan of the global economy. She wants to give Germans tax cuts, especially young families. She wants to lower unemployment, which would be a neat trick, since unemployment in the booming German economy is already at or near record lows. She also wants to hire thousands of new police officers at both the state and federal level. Telling, quote, "The times when we could completely rely on others are, to an extent, over." The others Merkel is referring to is the United States. Martin Schulz, who he is, Schulz, 61, is a former president of the European Union, and, surprise, no fan of Brexit, and he's relatively new to leadership in the centre-left Social Democratic Party. He was picked to lead his party back in January. He was elected mayor of his hometown of Warsalen in 1987 at age 31, but he spent more of his political life dealing with EU matters in Brussels than he is holding office in Germany. What he wants, Schulz, dubbed by some as the German Bernie Sanders, wants to raise taxes on the rich and give tax relief to middle-income earners. He wants Germany to use some of its budget surplus for investments in infrastructure and to help boost the EU.